Hello, my name is Daryl Lutz, and I'm the Wildlife Management Coordinator for the Lander region. In this video, I will review the proposed 2024 hunting seasons in the Rawlins area for antelope areas 52, 55, 56, 60 through 64, and 108, as well as deer areas 84, 87, and 98, elk areas 22, 108, 111, 118, and 130, and finally, bighorn sheep areas 17 and 26. One recurring theme you will hear throughout this presentation, at least for antelope and deer, is that herds in this part of the state suffered heavy winter losses in the past several years, including the epic winter of 2022-23. Proposed hunting seasons have been adjusted to accommodate those losses from these herds. We will start with pronghorn antelope. The red desert antelope herd consists of areas 60, 61, and 64 north of Interstate 80 and west of Rawlins. This herd suffered heavy losses in the 2018-19 winter due to exceptionally deep snow and long periods of severe cold. The following 2019-20 winter was also harsh, at least in the eastern portion of the herd. In response to these losses, harvests were reduced and doe fawn harvest was eliminated. Fawn production decreased in 2023 to 29 fawns per 100 does, and the herd was almost 50% below the objective of 15,000 antelope. This herd is in special management intended to maintain a larger supply of adult bucks. The buck-doe ratio for this herd also unexpectedly declined to 50 per 100 does in 2023 and below the range for special management. The 2022-23 winter was again severe. 14 of 33 radio-collared does in this herd died during January and February, a 42% mortality rate. Losses of bucks are expected to have been similar, and typically fawn losses are much higher. Based on the deaths of collared animals, roughly half the herd was expected to have died during that winter. Major cuts and license quotas were proposed and implemented in 2023 in response to these losses. With the herd suffering heavy losses in recent winters and continued low fawn production, license quotas remain at reduced levels in all three hunt areas. Overall, 200 licenses are recommended again this year. Opening dates are shifted to remain on traditional Saturday openers. The Iron Springs pronghorn antelope herd consists of hunt areas 52, 56, and 108, making up the west side of the Platte Valley from Interstate 80 south to encampment. Like most herds in this part of the state, this herd was hit with severe weather in the 2019 and again in the 2022-23 winters, particularly in the northern end in areas 56 and 108. Followed by extremely poor fawn production in 2020 and again in 2023. License quotas in these areas were greatly reduced in 2023 to compensate for these losses. Fawn production decreased significantly to 35 fawns per 100 does in 2023, and the herd is nearly 70% below objective. The buck-doe ratio also unexpectedly decreased to 51 per 100, but still within the range for recreationally managed herds. Major cuts and license quotas were implemented in 2023, and modest reductions are proposed this year. Because of continued poor fawn production and the herd being so far below the objective of 12,000 antelope, the proposed license quotas in Area 52 are reduced by 50, and the Type 1 license quotas in Area 56 and 108 are the same as in 2023. Overall, proposed license quotas are reduced from 250 in 2023 to 200 in 2024. The North Ferris antelope herd consists of Area 63, lying east of Muddy Gap, west of Pathfinder Reservoir, and north of the Ferris and Seminole Mountains. Unlike desert herds closer to Rawlins, Fawn crops rebounded quickly in this area following the 2019-20 winter. In 2022, the fawn ratio was 68 per 100. Because of near normal fawn crops, this herd was only about 25% below the objective of 5,000 antelope in 2022. However, the 22-23 winter was severe and reduced this population to 50% of the objective. Fawn productivity declined to a mere 37 fawns per 100 does and was the lowest in 20 years. Similarly, the number of bucks also declined to a low of 33 bucks per 100 does, the lowest in 20 years, but still within the range for recreational management. Cuts in license quotas proposed for this herd are in response to the low population size, reduced fawn production, and a sharply reduced buck-doe ratio. This herd typically returns to normal fawn production following hard winters, speeding up recovery, and it is hoped we see this in 2024. Opening dates are shifted to stay on the traditional Saturday opener. The South Ferris Antelope herd consists of Area 62, north and east of Rawlins and west of Seminole Reservoir. This herd suffered heavy losses during the 2018-19, 2019-20, and 2022-23 winters, reducing it well below the objective of 6,500 antelope. Fawn production was extremely poor from 2019 to 2023, ranging from only 20 to 32 fawns per 100 does. At these rates, the herd continues to decline. Fawn production improved in 2022 to 57 per 100, providing the first real increase in antelope numbers, but declined to 32 per 100 in 2023. This herd is more than 75% below objective. The area has a good buck-doe ratio of 62 per 100 and is outside the recreational range, but many of the bucks in the population are unavailable to most hunters because of the checkerboard land ownership. In publicly accessible portions of the herd, the buck-doe ratio is much lower. Because this herd is so far below objective, license quotas in 2023 remain conservative. The opening date is shifted to stay on the traditional Saturday. Antelope Area 55 is the northern portion of the Bags herd, along with Area 53 in the Green River region. It consists entirely of checkerboarded lands south of Interstate 80 and west of Rawlins. Like most areas around Rawlins, antelope numbers in this area declined because of losses in the 2018-19, the 2019-20, and the 2022-23 winters. As a result, doe harvest was eliminated in 2020 and buck harvest was reduced. Fawn production in Area 55 improved in 2021 to 71 fawns per 100 does and remained at that level in 2022, but declined sharply in 2023 to 16 fawns per 100 does. The buck-doe ratio in Area 55 dropped to 51 per 100 in 2023, within the range for a recreational herd, but the ratio of adult bucks was the lowest in 12 years. As with other herds in this part of the state, losses during these past winters were well above average. Because of these extreme losses, the proposed license quota for Area 55 remains the same as in 2023. The Ferris mule deer herd consists of Area 87, north and east of Rawlins, and includes the Ferris, Seminole, and Haystack Mountains. This herd was nearing objective size in 2018, but suffered heavy losses during the 2018-19, 2019-20, and 2022-23 winters, and is still roughly 75% below objective. After a record low in 2020, fawn production improved to 71 per 121 and improved again in 2022 to 80 per 100, the highest in 5 years, but it declined to 58 per 100 in 2023. This herd is in special management, intended to maintain a higher than average number of mature bucks in the population and harvest. The buck-doe ratio in 2023 decreased sharply to 35 per 100, near the bottom of the acceptable range. Also, many of the bucks in this herd are unavailable to most hunters because of the checkerboard land ownership. Winter losses from this herd were well above normal, at least in the southern portion of Area 87. The proposed license quota is the same as in 2023 and remains conservative to accommodate for those losses. The Chain Lakes mule deer herd consists of Area 98 in the Red Desert northwest of Rawlins. Deer in this herd unit are found in small groups scattered throughout a huge area, preventing the collection of useful data to make population estimates. Instead, this herd is managed with the goal of maintaining at least 60% landowner and hunter satisfaction and is below objective. Following losses during the 2018-19, 2019-20, and 2022-23 winters, neither hunters nor landowners were satisfied with the number of deer they saw in this area. Landowner satisfaction was not assessed in 2023 due to a lack of personnel, and hunter satisfaction declined to 40%. Like antelope in the same area, deer numbers are lower after the past hard winters. The proposed hunting season remains conservative, retaining the popular muzzleloading rifle and archery weapons restrictions, as well as the 4-point antler restriction. This will minimize harvest and also tie in with neighboring general license areas. We are also proposing to reduce the non-resident quota for the 3 areas in Region Q, areas 96, 97, and 98, from 100 to 75. Deer Area 84 is part of the Baggs mule deer herd, along with areas 82 and 100 in the Green River region. Only a small portion of the herd resides in the desert scrub habitats found in Area 84. 84 lies almost entirely in the checkerboard, making access difficult or impossible for most hunters. The northern portion of this herd unit suffered severe winter conditions in 2019-20 and 2022-23, and harvest from Area 84 was reduced in response. The Baggs mule deer herd is in special management, intended to maintain a higher than average proportion of mature bucks in the population and harvest. No classification data are collected from Area 84 because most of the deer in this area migrate south into Area 82 before classification surveys are flown. In 2023, however, the buck-doe ratio for the herd as a whole remained low at only 18 per 100, below the desired range for special management. Also, fawn productivity was quite low at only 41 fawns per 100 does, the lowest in 25 years. Given the low numbers of deer, the lack of Class 3 bucks in the harvest, and winter losses across the herd unit, the proposed quota for Area 84 remains unchanged at 25 licenses. The Ferris elk herd consists of areas 22 and 111 between Rawlins and Casper. It covers the Ferris and Seminole Mountains and the Haystack Mountains north of Sinclair. Severe winters that damage antelope and deer populations rarely affect elk survival in these open habitats where any windswept ridge can provide winter forage. This winter's count of 900 elk was 20% higher than last year's and shows the herd is still more than twice objective size. The proportion of the elk in this herd found in the checkerboard, where there is little to no access for hunters, has been steadily increasing, and this year about 50% of the elk were found in this portion of the herd unit. Access to a large portion of the remaining elk is also limited by private lands. Half the cows in the herd were in the checkerboard where little antlerless harvest is allowed to occur. License quotas and extended seasons have successfully controlled elk numbers on the publicly accessible portions of this herd unit, but elk numbers within the checkerboard continue to increase. All 900 elk counted in this herd were classified, yielding a bull-cow ratio of 42 bulls per 100 cows, the lowest in 10 years, but still quite high. The majority of bulls in this population are not available to most hunters, and that inflates this ratio. Calf production was low at 30 calves per 100 cows. Increased quotas for bull licenses have successfully provided more hunting opportunity. Early winter hunts running in late November and early December have allowed for harvest of elk that were on private land and unavailable during October, but have moved on to winter ranges on public lands. In an effort to increase bull harvest from this herd, a late November to mid-December extended season was added for Type 1 licenses in these two areas beginning in 2019. This late season is intended to give hunters an opportunity to hunt antlered elk after they have moved on to their winter range, much of which is on public land. This winter range season has increased harvest of surplus bulls and is proposed again this year. As in previous years, hunters with these licenses will be able to hunt either Area 22 or 111. With the success of this winter range hunt, quotas for the Type 1 licenses were increased in both areas in 2021 and 2022 and are proposed to increase slightly this year. Efforts to gain access for hunters to parts of the checkerboard have not been successful, but the quotas for Type 4 licenses in Area 111 are increased again this year because the herd is still well above objective. Harvest from this season should further reduce elk numbers in accessible portions of the herd. Without access for antlerless hunters, the segment of the herd in the checkerboard will continue to grow. The Shamrock elk herd consists of Area 118 in the eastern edge of the Red Desert northwest of Rawlins. Because these elk are dispersed in small groups scattered over hundreds of square miles, collection of normal herd data is impossible or cost prohibitive. Instead, management of this herd is based upon spring trend counts with an objective of averaging 75 elk. Much of the habitat occupied by these elk lies in the checkerboard in the southern portion of the area, where elk compete with livestock for forage and water. A trend count flown in June of 2017 found only 42 elk below the objective. Because of COVID, the next survey was not flown until spring of 2021, which found only 32 elk. While we know we cannot see all the elk in this herd from the air, that survey suggests elk numbers have stabilized or even slightly declined since 2017. Complaints over high elk numbers on private lands have also lessened. License quotas remained steady from 2018 through 2021, with a total of 100 licenses available each year, but were increased to 130 in 2022 and remained the same in 2023. Success for full price licenses increased to 82%, and success for cow hunters remained above 50%. Increases in all license types are proposed in Area 118 for 2024 in response to high success rates indicating elk numbers are healthy. The October 1st opening date for the Type 6 cow licenses will be retained. Areas 108 and 130 are part of the Sierra Madre elk herd, along with areas 13, 15, and 21 in the Green River and Laramie regions. A trend count this past winter suggests this herd is within the range of the objective. Only a small portion of the herd resides in the desert scrub rimrock habitats found in these two areas during the summer and fall. Areas 108 and 130 lie almost entirely in the checkerboard, making access difficult or impossible for most hunters. Hunter success for Type 1 licenses in Area 108 remained at 75% and was within the normal range for this area. Success for Type 4 hunters increased to 82%, and hunters with the late Type 6 license enjoyed 75% success. Severe winters that damage antelope and deer populations rarely affect elk survival in these open habitats, where any windswept ridge can provide winter forage. While losses from this elk herd may have been above average last winter, they did not significantly affect herd size. Proposed seasons are unchanged from the 2023 season. The Ferris M bighorn sheep herd consists of Areas 17 and 26 between Rawlins and Casper. Area 17 covers the Ferris and Seminole Mountains, and Hunt Area 26 contains the Bennett Mountains to the east of Seminole Reservoir. Past hunting seasons allowed hunters to hunt either or both areas, but beginning in 2022, quotas were separated between the two areas. The most recent effort to return bighorn sheep to this part of their native range was initiated in 2009. Following a handful of releases, bighorn sheep reintroduced into these mountain ranges have done well. The management objective for this herd is to have a 3-year average of 300 sheep in winter trend counts, and that goal was reached this year. A total of 365 bighorn sheep were counted, yielding a 3-year average of 353 sheep. Good lamb production and survival is the main reason this herd is thriving. Production was still good but declined to 35 lambs per 100 ewes in 2023. Bighorn sheep used for these recent transplants dropped their lambs earlier in the spring than those in previous transplant attempts, and appear to be well synchronized for low elevation, dry habitats found in these mountains. Average age of rams harvested from this herd was 6.4 years in 2023, and nearly the same as in 2022. This winter's count found 109 rams, which is a little more than 25% of the bighorn sheep counted. With the herd reaching objective size and lamb production and survival remaining good, harvest of ewes continues to be necessary. First, the healthy lamb production and survival seen in this herd is largely due to major habitat treatments in the past decade. To maintain the high productivity of this herd, bighorn sheep numbers need to be managed to maintain the range health of those habitats. And secondly, the greatest threat to this herd is the possibility of disease transfer from domestic animals outside the herd unit. To address this threat, it is necessary to keep bighorn sheep numbers at a healthy density to minimize the likelihood of bighorn sheep trying to disperse or wander to new ranges which may harbor dangerous pathogens. To stabilize herd size, a harvest of 30 ewes is proposed for this fall. Based on where the sheep are, 3 of these ewe lamb licenses would be issued in Area 26 and the remainder in Area 17. To ensure some of the ewe harvest comes off the sheep ranges in the Ferris Mountains, 7 of these licenses would be limited to the Sand Creek drainage as Type 7 licenses. And then starting in 2024, Type 2 licenses valid for rams less than 3/4 curl are proposed. This will allow needed ram harvest to minimize foraying by rams and increase hunting opportunity while decreasing harvest pressure on older aged rams. The proposal is 6 Type 1 licenses, a reduction of 4 licenses, and 4 Type 2 licenses in Area 17, and the same number of Type 1 licenses as in 2023 in Area 26. Trend count data show there are plenty of mature rams to support the proposed Type 1 quotas and maintain the average age of harvested rams. If you have questions about any of these season proposals, please call any of the people listed here. If we can't answer your question, we should be able to direct you to someone who can. or you can attend any of the following public meetings to hear more about these season proposals within the Lander region. And finally, we really want to hear your comments or suggestions on these proposed hunting seasons, either online or mailed to the address shown here. All comments received will be passed on to each Game and Fish Commissioner before they act on these proposals at their meeting in late April. To be included, all comments must be received by 5 p.m. on April 2nd.